So let's start with the time complexity. Yes. Yeah. So I won't be covering as much theory, because we know theory will not matter much. So we'll understand what time complexity is and how it is important for us in the field of programming. So in simple terms, if I write, time complexity is nothing but just, you can assume it like amount of time taken by an algorithm. So in programming, two things matters. One, your answer should be correct. Second, that answer should be calculated faster. So it's not like here, let's say you are writing a code and you have the question and you have to find the answer. So it's like there can be a condition like your answer is coming after 10 years, but there is no point of that, because why will I wait for 10 years? So your answer should be correct and your answer should be calculated fast. So these both things are matter. First of all, you should focus on this. Here my answer should be correct, and then you should focus on this. Here, okay, now I got the logic, I should improve it or optimize it, that we say in the programming language. You should optimize it or make it faster. So I'll give you a very basic example first. So let's say you have a question, find sum of n natural numbers. So you have a question here, find sum of n natural numbers. Let's say your n is 5, so answer should be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is 5 plus 4, 9, 50, I guess 15. Right? Now there can be two ways. Let's say you have to write a code for this. So I can write simple a code, basically a for loop for I is equal to 1, say I less than n, I plus plus, and here I can write answer is equal to answer plus I. Now this is a loop where we are running n times, and this instruction will be calculating, we are executing this instruction n times. So what will happen? Let's just take an example. Let's say for initially answer is 0, then in the first iteration you will add 1, then in the second iteration 2, and so on till 5. So basically you are computing n instructions, and this is what we call order of n. Here you are taking n instructions in the worst case. Worst case basically, if I, let's say if your n is 1, right? So you are computing in only one step, but you should always consider the worst case. So you should always consider here, if n is very great, so my answer will be in order of n. Now, you guys can hear me, right? Hello?
Yes.
Fine. Okay. So,
It's audible.
yeah, cool. So now, if you guys must have done in your 11, 12, here there is some formula. So one way is to calculate is like this, and another way is like you can directly apply a formula. What is the formula? N into n plus 1 by 2, right? So now my code becomes something like this: int main c n, and answer is n into n plus 1 by 2, and c out answer. Now here I'm executing only one instruction, right? Basically I'm only doing one calculation. This is n into n plus 1 by 2. So now this is order of 1. So now I put n is equal to 1, 2, 3 or any big number. Let's say 10 to the power 5 or anything. My answer will be calculated in order of 1. So this is the basic difference. So some of the people message me on LinkedIn or here how to. This is a very general question by them. how to remove TLE. So while coding, you get something called TLE, which is time limit exceeded. So now, so before knowing here how to remove TLE, first you should know why I am getting TLE. This is the most important thing people should care about, but they don't think about it much, and they just want to know the answer here how to remove it. But first you should be able to know here how to why I am getting this TLE. Now I'll give you a basic thing which is very useful. Like, so your computer or the online compilers mostly can support up to 10 to the power 8 instructions. So you can compute only up to 10 to the power 8. So let's talk about the example we talked in earlier. Here, find this sum of n natural numbers. Now you know here with every question there is a constraint associated. Whenever you are doing any question online, I mean here on CodeChef or any site, there will be always a constraint sections which people generally don't read who are beginners, but that is the most important section. So let's say for this, it is written like the n can be between 1 to 10 to the power 9, right? So, and they also provide you a time limit. So let's say time limit is, they have written only 2 seconds. Your answer should come in the 2 seconds. Now what happens is, if I write that for loop wala code, so we have discussed two approaches, right? One is the for loop approach and other is the formula approach. Okay. Now for loop was taking order of n time. Basically, it was taking n instructions, and here I am taking I is equal to order of 1. Now in the worst case, my n can be 10 to the power 9. Here also 10 to the power 9 worst case. Now how much time will it take? It will take 10. It has to run 10 to the power 9 instructions. It has to run only one instruction. Now, so I told you here, you can run in 1 second. So this is the approximation you can take. You can run 10 to the power 8 instructions in 1 second. So how much time it will take? 10 seconds. First, 10 to the power 8 in 1 second to 10 to the power 9 in 10 seconds. It will take one instruction, you can calculate 1 by 10 to the power 8 second, I guess. Or you can say millisecond something. Now this will result in TLE and this will pass. So this will return in TLE and this will pass. So first ever, whenever you are doing a code or writing a code, you should always think here, first you should take the logic, maybe a brute force approach, but then you should be able to think why I am getting TLE. So I'll give more examples. So let's say you have to find something like this. Here, given an array, yeah. So given an array, find, let's say I'm just telling here, find any pair whose sum is 10. Let's say there is a question. Okay. Now you have something like this: 1, 2, 3, and let's say 7. Okay. So here also you will get in constraints, and constraints are your n will be, basically numbers can be up to 10 to the power 5. Okay. So one way is writing two for loops. This is your array. So you can write like this something. If for just there should be an option to allow automatically. I'll check. Yeah. If for I is equal to 0, say I less than n minus 1, I plus plus. For j is equal to I plus 1, say. Basically, I'm checking every pair. If I plus j is equal to 10, sorry, a of I, a of j is equal to 10. Basically, print yes or anything. See out. Yes. Okay. Now let's analyze this. So in the worst case, you will be running this total. How much total instructions? Let's say there are
N square.
right n square. So there are 10 to the 5. So you will be running in the worst case 10 to the 10 instructions. Right. Now, like I told you, 10 to the power 8 in 1 second. So 10 to the 10 will take. Generally, people think 2 seconds, but no, it is 1 into 10 into 10. So basically 100 seconds. Let's continue. And the recording. 180, 10 to the, sorry, yeah. Where were we? Yeah, 10 to the 100 seconds. Now, I'm not talking, I will not tell you the correct approach, but you can think of, you can maybe solve it using map, just giving you a hint, and you can find the answer in log n. That is a homework for you or something. Please just try to think. Guys, you can hear my audio?
Yeah.
Everyone? Or only you who are all there? Let's check once.
I can hear the audio.
Dilip, Daniel, Fan, anyone? Ankit?
Uh,
Yeah,
I can hear.
I late because of network
Yeah,
issues.
you can hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's then I will send it. Cool. Let's continue. What is this? Yeah. Okay. But I'm not telling the correct approach. You can just think about it, and let's say you solve it in n log n. Like you can take a help of map, and then you can solve it in n log n. So if if I analyze it, it is 10 to the power 5 into log of 2 10 to the power 5. This will be approx, I guess, 2 to the power 15 to the power 5. I'm not sure, maybe 30 or 40. I'm not sure. Anyway, so it is very definitely less than 60 or 40 or something. Not 40, even 40, I think it's maybe 20. So your complexity is 10 to 20 into 10 to the power 5, which is 10 to the power 6 order of, and which is less than 10 to the power 8. So you can run it in less than 1 second, and you will get a green tick. So that is the difference. You should always see key what is my complexity coming right now. So I'll give you one more insight here. Whenever you are getting any constraints, it is a big hint. So if you can see here, if n is less than 1 to n is in this range, then you have to solve in order n or order of n log n or anything, but not definitely not order of n square. So constraints always give you a big hint. Let's say n is, sometimes they give n is less than 20. So now you might be thinking it can be exponential also. It can be 2 power n. So you could always see the constraints, and then you should think here, yeah, this can be my algorithm. Okay. Now I think we have covered pretty much in time complexity. That you will learn by solving problems only. Again and again, I repeat the same thing here. Those who read more and solve less will never be a good programmer. Always first solve problems. Then whenever you're stuck somewhere, just go to you Google or ask your friends, and then you should learn. You should learn the theory. Okay. So this was the thing key. Yeah. So we have covered, right? Key always. So this is like the key summary. Always look at the constraints. Always see why am I getting TLE, and according to that try to solve the problem. So it's not wrong here if you are solving it in n square. So first you should focus on here, I should get the correct answer. If you are in the initial phase of your coding, first you should be able to think here. First priority should be I should be able to think of a brute force. Brute force is basically the very bad approach, but it should give you the correct answer. Now after getting the correct answer, you should think here whether it will pass the constraints or the time, and then you should start optimizing it. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about recursion, which people think is the toughest, one of the toughest topic, which I also used to think. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So even I guess after when I was in second year, I used to be very afraid of recursion because obviously it is seems very complex. And the second thing that people face is you are not able to what I should say, debug your problem. Sometimes you write the code, but you are not able to debug it because in recursion you don't know ki how should I debug it, or how should I debug it, or how to solve, or maybe how to get to the correct answer. So first, those who are too much beginner, I'll just giving a very brief introduction of recursion. So recursion is basically if a function is calling itself, function is calling itself. If you are total beginner, I don't know what function is, then you should first read about functions and can skip the lecture, I would say. That should come on time anyway. Yeah, so function is calling itself, right? So I will first, recursion is a topic that you can only, the theory is this much only. The function, they're just calling itself. So the more you practice, the more you learn, but I can give you some tricks, or you can say basically some tips and so it can help you to improve your recursion, and you can solve recursion problems easily. So let's first discuss a very basic problem that everyone talks about is the finding the factorial. Okay. So before going to code, always make a recursive tree. How it will work. So basically, factorial. Let's say the question is find factorial of n, or find n factorial. Which is, let's say 5 factorial is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is 120. Yeah. So now, as you know, obviously I should expect that we should know is like I can write this as 5 into 4 factorial, right? So always try to make a tree, like then it will further can tell 4 into 3 factorial, right, and so on. Now let's say this is some node. So whenever you make a node, you can imagine it as a function. Here, this is going to compute. This is going to compute something for me. So let's say task is to compute 5 factorial. This is a function who has to compute this 5 factorial. Now you know here 5 factorial is 5 into 4 factorial. So then you can I'll just see 1 second like this. I can let me write in a better way. So let's say this function has to calculate 5 factorial. So now you know कि 5 into, so this is the same function. Basically, this I can write into 5 into 4 factorial. Now this node is calculating some factorial. So I can write over here 4 factorial. So 5 into 4 factorial. Now 4 into 3 factorial. This is a very simple example, though you might be thinking it's very simple, but we'll discuss some more complicated examples. Now, similarly, 2 factorial and so on. Now, so you know here at some point I have to stop. So I can stop at maybe, so I know here 1 factorial is 1 and 0 factorial is also 1. So these are my terminating condition here whenever I am, so it is 2 factorial, 2 into 1 factorial. Here I am returning 1. So let's say you have to calculate 5. So 5 factorial. So 5 into 4 factorial will call this, then this, and this, and return. We'll see it by code. Just imagine that you have made some tree. Now it seems very simple, but let's talk about the code. Just a minute. Factorial code, let's say. Let's include this ice cream giving space std. So I'm just taking the input n. Now let's just whatever we did on that notebook, we are just going to repeat it here. So we started with factorial of, we have to find, so this is our that circle. Here its duty is to find the factorial of n. So this is some function in factorial and it will return me some answer. So some number is coming. So it's, don't think, just think here. This is function. People saying one second. People are not able to hear. Why? I'm not sure. Please check your microphone. Not microphone. Yeah, the output speakers or something. You guys are able to hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear you. Yep.
Yes, sir. Very able to.
Okay, those who are not able to hear you, I'm anyway recording the session. Now, how to minimize it? Okay, fine. So you have to find the factorial of n. So we'll write the terminating condition later on, but like we discussed, so basically n factorial is, so similarly this will calculate the answer is n into n minus 1 factorial, and that n minus 1 factorial is calculating, so this function is responsible for calculating any factorial. Basically you can imagine it as a, it is finding some x factorial. So I never consider this factorial wala code to be a very good example, but it is a standard question I'm discussing. We'll discuss some more good examples for that. Yeah. Now this has to stop like we discussed. So we'll let's just assume that this is some black box and it will return you the factorial of n minus 1. So you can just think about it like that and return this answer. Now if n is equal to, like we discussed, our base case is return 1. If n is equal to 1, return 1. And I think pretty much is covered. Now let's try to run this code. G++, what is the code? CTP. Out. So 5 factorial. Did I something? Oh, okay. I think I didn't print the answer. Okay, C out. So we are getting 120. So it is a very basic example. Those who have studied recursion have definitely done this. Now let's come back to the recording. Where was it? Yeah. Okay, now let's discuss a very good example which I generally consider. So if you want to understand recursion, you should always, you should always do this question. So you have to print subsets of an array. So everyone knows what is a subset, right? You know. Hello.
Like some set of elements within the array.
Not some set. It's subset. Any subset. Like give an example. So basically, you have something 1, 2, 3 in maths. In 11th class, you have done it. So subset is I have to choose something from this, but the order should not be changed. This is the perfect definition of subset. Like a subset can be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and empty set. So
okay, so we can miss an element, but it needs to be ordered.
Right.
Okay.
So don't think about any recursion. So, but first, let's say you have to print all these numbers. Thank you. So we have to print all these subsets. This is our question. Now there are various ways. One is the bit masking. I might be discussing in the future sessions. But let's today first think here how to calculate. First, so whenever you are doing coding, first you should think here how many. If I don't have any computer, how first I should be able to calculate, and then you should be able to teach computer how it should calculate. So first let's think about ourselves here. How are we calculating this? So basically, I'm just writing. So what is subset is you can either choose a number or you can either miss a number. Basically, for every number you have two options. Either I will choose. So either I will. There are three numbers. Let's say X, Y, Z. So either I will choose or I will not choose. So if you know a PNC, this permutation combination, you can see here. So how many subset will I make? 2 cross 2 and 2 cross 2, because I have two choices. Either I will choose or not choose. So there should be 8 for 3 numbers, which we can see over here. These are also 8 subsets. So let's discuss about pick any 1, 3. So which is telling me I chose 1, I did not choose 2, I chose 3. For 1, 2, 3, it is telling me I chose 1, I chose 2, I chose 3, all of a number. let's discuss one more. For 3, I did not choose 1, I did not choose 2, but I chose 3. So in this way, let's say you have these 3 numbers. Now let's discuss. So for every number, let's say starting with this, you have some choices. Either I will choose it or not. If you are choosing it, then it's number. If I can choose or not. So let's say I choose it, so it's 1. Let's say I didn't choose it, so miss it. Then let's say I chose this also, I have got 1, 3. So basically, we have to print all the subsets. Now let's, okay, so now we know about it. Now let's see how we should able to teach computer to calculate it. Okay, so let's say you have some box again. So for every number, like we discussed, you have 2 choices. So let's say you have over here in starting, you are at here. So its index is 0. So this is an array. It is this is index is 0. Now, and let's say if you are choosing it, you are putting in a box. That box we are discussing later. So let's say initially you are at 0th position and your box is empty. So box is telling me which number I have chosen. So initial condition, basically initial state, not even condition, initial state. Now I have come to this. Now I have 2 options. Here either I will choose it or either I will not. So let's say I'm not choosing it. So it will become sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, this is the pen. Yeah. So if I'm not choosing it, basically I am moving to this another number. So my index become 1, and I'm not choosing it. So my box is still empty. If I am, let's say now I'm choose it. So it is 1, and this box will become 1. Now again for this function. So now this is telling me the index. So basically at bit index I am of the array. So now I'm at the 1 index. So basically here. Now if I am choosing it, so at first let's say we are not choosing it. So we are not choosing it. So we have come to the second index and we have not chosen it yet. Okay. And if I chose that, then it will be, I have come to index 2 and I chose the number. So its box will become 2. I write one more state over here. So again, same. So I come at 2 and I didn't choose it. So it will be 1. And if I'm choosing that second number, then it will become 1, 2. Because, okay, I'll explain one more time. So we are coming, so till here, we are at index 1 and we have 1 number in our box. Now, after that, we have 2 options to choose, either to choose the second number or to miss it. Now, if I miss it, so it is 2 and my box is still having 1. And if I'm choosing it, I now move to second index and my box is having 1, 2. Now let's talk one more time. So which is 3. Now you can imagine here I am moving to 3 and I'm missing the number 3rd. Or if I'm choosing it, will be 3. Set some smaller things. Now if again 3, 2 and 3, 2, 3. This will become 3, 1 and 3, 1, 3. Because now I am at 3rd index, so I only have the option of choosing 3 or not. So if I'm choosing it, if I'm choosing it, then I am including in my box, otherwise not. Similarly for here, if I am coming at index 1, so it will become 1 and 2, and it will become 1, 2 and 3. So here I'm missing 3 and I still have 1, 2 and I'm including all, which is 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So now you can see, so you have seen all the numbers. Now you don't have any other choice. So this will be my terminating condition. Here, if I have seen all the numbers, then don't calculate anything. Now you can see you have 8 states. So basically these are your answers. So 1 subset, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are your answers. So now, and one more thing I'll see whenever, I'm not sure whether it's the right time to introduce this or not. So there is something called DFS. Let's not discuss about it, but I'll just tell you how it is computed. So first you will come here, then you will calculate this. I'll choose, let me choose another color. So I'll just write a state, let's say, first we'll calculate this, then we'll call this 4. So at the point, this will be computed, then you'll come to this 5, then it is covered, then it will go upside 6. So basically you are doing in the, not this will not be 6, then you have covered this, then you will go the right side. Yeah. So you might 6, you might 7, and then you will go the 8. So basically, so whenever you are doing a recursion problem, always make this recursion tree. We'll write the code and we'll understand. And when I write the code, you will see that whatever I made this in notebook, I'll just write it in a coding language. So let's say, what is this subset problem? And you guys are not asking doubts or something. So if you want to ask something or you want to, I should repeat something, feel free to ask, because these are not easy. I can understand. So feel free to ask again. It be helpful for others also. So if you are not understanding anything, please ask. I'll repeat it again. There is no issue.
So just to repeat what you have said, what we're doing here is we're saying 0, 1, 2, 3 is an array, and then 0 is the, since it's the
array, let's say
since
1, 2, 3. So you have 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3.
right.
Yeah. So 0 is
So
X, 1 index.
yeah, okay. So the way we are creating the tree is we are assuming the first index, and then we're going to the possible indexes where 2, 3 possibly can take as the elements of position.
So let me repeat once again. So basically you are starting with, so you are starting with the first index. Basically you are in the state. So now you have 2 options, whether you will choose it or not. So if you will choose it, I'll just come here, just give a simple example. So let's say you are again, let's not conclude. Let's say this has some 3, let's say you have some 3 numbers, 3, 7 or 9, random numbers. So either whenever you are in index 0, you will either choose 3 or not. So if you are choosing 3, then you put this in your box, and if you are not choosing it, then your box is empty. So I'll again make a tree for 2 numbers. So let's say you have only 2 numbers, 5 and 7, and you have to print the subsets of 5 and 7. So which are 5, 7, 5, 7, and empty. So like we discussed, 2 numbers, either choose or not choose. So it will be 2 cross 2, which is 4. So these are my 4 subsets. Now initially I'm at 0th index, my box is empty. So basically you are at, just imagine here you are at 0th index and you have not seen anything. Now you will start looking 0. So this function will look into 0. Here, now it has 2 choices, whether I will choose or I will not choose. So if it is choosing, then let's again come to previous point. Let's say it is not choosing. So if it is not choosing, it is same, because I'm not putting inside any box or anything. Let's just assume it is something box or number. And now move to first number, because I have already seen one. I have checked. I have already choose. Here I will not choose the 5 number, this number, and let's move to another number. So I am moving to another number, which is index 1, and I am leaving this 5. Now if I am choosing it, I will moving to another number and I will including this 5. Now after this, what will happen? Now I have to check this 1 index. So 1 index is the 7. So either I will not choose 7 or either I will choose 7. So if I am not choosing 7, so I am moving to another, so I have already opt to not choose 7 and I am moving further, so which is at index 2. Now I am not choosing anything here. If I am choosing 7, another option was to choose 7. So 2 and 7. So I am putting 7 into my box. Similarly, here after seeing 1, if I am not choosing 7, it is as it is, and if I am choosing 7, it is 5, 7. Now whenever you are, so 2 means you have seen all the numbers because it is greater than n. So basically, n was basically it is greater than equal to 2. Basically you have 0, 1, and 2 index.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. So you are at
Hello.
0.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Aniket.
Yeah, cool. Fine. So we are discussing some recursion problem. So 0th index, 1 index, and now there is nothing at 2 index, so it will be a terminating condition that will in the code. So now you can see these are my 4 subsets because everyone has read as the outmost position. So one subset is null set, one is 7, one is the 5, and one is the 5 7. That's how I and when I am printing this subset is when I am at the last index. Basically, I have seen all the numbers. Now let's look at the code and you will see, you will understand more. Hmm.
Can I interrupt you for a while?
Yeah,
Am I
sure.
audible?
Yeah, tell me.
Like, can we go to the tree once more?
Uh,
I'm like, now I'm stuck at just one point. I'm not able to figure it out. Let's say we went to the first index. That's what that 0 comma empty bracket means. And we opt to
yeah,
not choose it. Correct?
right.
Yeah. So then we proceed to the next index. That is the first one.
Yes, and we are
So we
not
have two options. We have not chosen anything.
right.
So if we don't choose anything, we are drawing the left subtree. And if we are choosing something, we are making the right subtree.
Right.
So
you
that left
not the
subtree.
tree, I will say not the tree because you are choosing. So basically, I will say the word left child. So those. So
Okay, sorry.
this
Yeah.
child means you are not choosing anything. So also for others who does not know anything about trees and all, just
Yeah.
so it might be a little tough for you, but I'm just trying. So I'm trying to help you. Yeah, maybe in future if you learn tree, you will get it more. But even if you're not understanding it, that's fine because I'll tell you what I used to
What
do.
the question that I wanted to ask was that if 1 comma that bracket, empty bracket is, we are not choosing anything in the first index,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what are we actually doing then?
So
Like we are keeping the next first index as empty. Then what is our next line of action? I didn't get that actually. How are we drawing the child of these particular node? If I have to say.
so basically now so you are at like this. So now this 1 comma empty means you have come here and you have not, and this is means you have not chosen anything. Now you have to see the number at the first index. Again, you have two choices. Either I will choose it or either I will not choose it. So if I am not
Okay.
then I will come here, it is empty. So I am passing it to another index and my box is still empty. And if I am choosing it,
Okay.
increasing the index and my box has 7. So
Okay. Then our box is 7. Okay.
yeah. So I'll again repeat if you guys are not because
Mhm.
most of you might be the beginners. So if you are not able to understand it, no worries. It is one of the very good question of recursion. So I'll discuss in my next session. There is one more way, but yeah, you should be definitely able to print this subset.
Yeah.
Another
I
way,
got it. How did you draw it now?
yeah.
Fine with
So
that.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
telling you that in next section I will be discussing. So I'll tell you about myself. So when I was in second year, so I started programming. So at that time I was also not able to print the subset, and I was very weak in recursion. So I used to follow this method. So there is a way by which so here no recursion is involved. I will discuss in the next session. So using bit masking also you can print the subsets of a number, which is very easy. So we'll discuss it in the next session. Okay. So now let's try to write the code. Hope it will help you more. Just try to write the code faster. Okay. So again, I have some numbers and let's say we have some 3 or 4. We'll take some. We have some array, and these are my numbers. Now let's do it side by side. You have your you have seen ki how did I make a tree. Now how I will start it. So there again we told you like that circle you can understand it as a function. So that was my function. What I was sending was an index and some array or some box. I said the box. So initially we are at index 0, and let's say my box is some vector. So that's why I ask if you have non-vector. You can take array also. It's up to your implementation. So it is nothing but a simple box. You can imagine it as an empty box. So this is my like now you can relate this function to that circle. So this is my index and this is my empty box initially. Now let's write the main code, which is the function and this. So this is my index and this is my box. Okay, now let's suppose we'll write a terminating condition later. So what we discuss is we can either choose the number at index at this index, or either we can not choose. Okay, so let's say we are not choosing it. So what I am doing is what I did is, if you remember, I just called the another circle, which was, so I am increasing the index and I didn't do anything. So basically this box is still empty. So initially I'll just write something. So initially this index is 0 and this box is empty. So V is nothing but an empty box for the first time. So what I did is, if I'm not choosing it, I'm increasing the index and my box is still empty. Another thing was to choose that number. So choosing that number means I'm just, if you remember the vector session, I'm just putting that number in my vector. Now what happens is, I should write it over. Yeah. So now what is happening is recursion index plus 1 moving to next index and my. So if you think like this, so now this is like what I'm calling is recursion of 1 comma this basically V. So vector has, let's say we are talking about the example of, so this is our input array 5 comma 7 that we discussed in the last example. So what I'm doing over here is, so increasing this index to 1 and my box is still empty. Here I'm increasing the index to 1 and my box is 5 because I have chosen 5. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just choosing my number 5 and then, yeah. So that's all. That's the wonder of recursion. Now let's say what is the terminating condition. So my terminating condition was, if this index is at n, so basically when we reach at the last number, the last index is in, so we have two numbers, so index was 0 and 1, so which are, whenever we are coming to last, let's just print this vector. Just 1 second, I'm getting a call. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So I'm just printing the vector. I will again say it is not that easy. I might be writing very easily, but you should be, and you should definitely spend your at least 2-3 hours, or maybe that's up to you. See how did I solve this problem. So I'm just printing this vector. So you can just relate it with that tree, if you'll see. And okay, so we have also need to pass, or I can just take this vector number globally. Yeah. So let's first see whether I've written the correct code or not. Subset CPP. What is the error? We have to include the vector, like I said. So, like we discussed in the last session, to use vector, we have to write a library. We have to include this vector library. Let's try. Okay, this is my habit. I generally write function below. So just skipping the for type. Still okay.
Function name is FUNC.
Fine. Okay, there is just a warning. Out, say 2 numbers. Yeah, 2 numbers, which is 5 and 7. Some I got segmentation fault, and we need to debug, I guess. 1 second. This one. Okay. So whenever I'll say one more thing, it's a very good thing every time. So whenever you stuck somewhere, you always just print these parameters. That's why you can just print the index.
I actually think there
We're returning int.
that function
Sorry.
like
Return type is int out there.
One of them, but still, that we can make word that is not true. It's fine. This function ID. I wrote this code earlier also. I checked with that. Let's try just 1 second. Okay.
actually you are okay, fine.
Just 1 second, no issues. We can. Okay, so we are getting in some. So now you can see we are getting into some infinite loop, and that is happening because I'm always increasing the index. No, wait, I better to check my code. I wrote this also. Have I declared n somewhere else also? Yeah. Just a second. One is like this. You need to declare the vector loop. No, man, it's not an issue vector. This. Let's say. Just the thing. Can you see any difference in these codes? This code should work on something. Just check. Sorry. Yeah. 1 second. So this. This is the C2. 1 second. Just let me see. Slash out 257. That should work. I've done something. I think I have not compiled. Just let me print this and we should not. What the hell I'm doing?
That vector is not there.
Where?
Okay, no. You actually declared it, I guess.
2157. I'm just thinking why.
Is it declared globally? Vector is declared.
Sorry.
Is the vector declared like
Yeah.
outside implement?
No. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Like after every recursion call, won't it? Okay, fine. Yeah.
Just 1 second.
You're passing the vector.
Can you see any difference in this code that I'm thinking? One. I should.
I think you didn't. Okay, return is there.
Return is not there.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Inside the if return is not there.
So what is happening is that's why we are getting an infinite loop because we have not terminating anything. We are just keep on going and going. So let's also discuss about this. So whenever you are getting whenever you write code, you will definitely be writing any wrong code. So that's how you should debug it. So now what if I get more time? So what I'm saying is I am. So now I can see here I am printing index. So that was my concern here why I am getting so many indexes because means it is going into it is not terminating. So that was a mistake I did. I have written the terminating condition, but I didn't terminate it. So what is happening is whenever even if index is equal to n, I'm still calling the another trees. Now let's first run this. Okay, 5 and 7. So now you can see this is the empty set. This is 5, 7 and 5, 7. Let's run on the bigger case. Let's say that 1, 2, 3. So you can see we have printed all the subsets. Now let's come back. So though I'll again say those who did not understand it, it's okay. It is not very easy, and those are who are beginners. So basically, if you are in first year and you have not done, or even in second year, but you have not done that much programming, it's normal. It is a very good question. I think I didn't. Might be in third year or so, but it doesn't mean you don't do. You will wait for third year to come and then you will do it. So just again watch this session or so if you are able to understand it. Otherwise, it's okay. We'll be discussing another approach to print all the subsets. So that is some of the ways. So I'll again say that whenever you are to debug recursion, always print parameters. Always print, or basically always just to print as in to just to debug points. So just print the parameters in very first instruction of the function. Basically in the recursion function, like I did it over here. So to debug what it if I do this control Z, so if I have to debug something, I will always print like this. So now I can match it with the tree if my indexes are coming correct or not, and then it is easier for me to debug whether my logic is wrong or my tree is becoming wrong. Now where were we? Okay. So okay, now let's leave recursion. Very topic. Now we come to another very important topic, and which you generally see in many problems is modulus by 10 to the power 9 plus 7. So this is for beginners also. This is very important. So most of the people, if you have done enough problems, I'm sure if you are doing 20-30 problems, you definitely might have encountered with a problem where you have to print the answer modulus by this number. One specialty is this number, the prime number, and this is a very common number in competitive world. So you will definitely see you will get a question where you have to print something answer modulus 10 to the power 9 plus 7. So why do they generally give you this? So first, why they don't generally ask us to print directly the answer? So something that happens is like as we know, our int range is between, let's say, approx minus 10 to the power 9 to, this is the int range, 10 to the power 9. So there are various questions, because as you already know, you can only store up to 10 to the power 18 in C++, and that is also in long int.
Long.
Yeah. In Java you have big numbers, but generally in C++ there is also library, but there are many questions where you have, people generally ask me also, sir, how will I store this number? So let's say someone is giving you a question, find factorial of 100. Okay, now you definitely know here you cannot store this number in any number, in any data type. You cannot store in any long int. You might be able to solve it using a string, but let's say I am your teacher and I'm giving you a question here. So what I will do is I will say don't print this, but find factorial of so basically what you do is, so you print this 100 factorial mod this 10 to the 9 plus 7. Now this will be definitely less than 10 to the 9 plus 7, right? Because whenever we take a modulo using x, whenever I'm doing something n mod x, it can be from 0 to x minus 1.
N minus. Okay.
Sorry?
No, nothing.
Yeah. So it will be from 0 to x minus 1. So that's the reason they generally give you the question like this. Okay. So now, what people generally think is, here I will just calculate 100 factorial, and at the end I will just take the modulo x and then print. But that's the problem, because you cannot store this. So you have to come up with some another logic. And there comes the modulus properties, which are very important. Okay, so what are the modulus properties? So modulus has some properties. So one property is a plus b modulus m is equal to a mod m plus b mod m whole mod m. So whenever you have to compute something like this, you can break it like this. So let's say you're asking to compute something like 7 plus. So basically you are asking to, let's say here a is 5 and b is 7. So and my m is 3, not 3. Let's say this is, let's say 5. Okay, sorry, m is 5. So if you calculate a plus b, 5 plus 7 by 5, which is 2, or you can also write it like this: a mod, which is a is 5, so 5 mod 5 plus b is 7, 7 mod 5 whole mod 5. So that's calculate, which is 0 plus 2 mod 5, which is also 2. So these two both will same. I'm just removing this as because this is correct. Just let I just want to write the property in one go. Okay. Now second property is a mod a into mod b. Now which is again same. Basically, I can say it is a commutative property into b mod m into whole mod m. Okay. Now let's come back to, so not, don't think about minus or subtraction and division. We'll come back to that later. Let's talk about that problem. Print factorial of 100, or basically we'll print 100 factorial mod m. Now that's how we have to solve this problem. So now I can use the modulus property. So what if I write like this? What is this? Something 100 into 99 into 98 into at the end 1. This is what, right? 100 factorial and mod m. Now as I know my mod is commutative, so what I can write is like this: 100 mod m into 99 mod m. So what I can do is I can break my problem into this step. Yeah, I'll just calculate 100 mod m, which will be definitely less than m into, let's say, 99 factorial. Okay. Now I will take 99 from here. I will write 900 into 99 mod m into 98 factorial. So this number will be lesser than m always. Now let's say this is something x number. Then again I will choose one from there, x into 97 mod m into 96 factorial and so on. So at the end I will get a number. So at the end what will happen is it will something become something, let's say z into 1 factorial mod m, and this is also, so everything is lesser than m, so it will be always lesser than m, and never at any step I need to use an integer where I am storing a bigger number. Earlier what was the problem is you were not able to store this, but now first I am calculating this part, then this part, and so on. So that's how you have to use the modulus property wisely. There will be various questions that will be using this. Now let's discuss the third property, which is a minus b mod m, which is a mod m minus b mod m for whole mod m, which is wrong. So the only problem here is, let's say this a minus b is, let's say something like, I'll give an example. So if let's say this thing become negative, so what will happen? So if a minus b is negative, so anyone you must have used it in college or somewhere. If I have to write this minus 2 mod 5 is basically, anyone knows? We
It's
know
5 plus 2 more.
kind of correct. So basically whenever something like this, we just do like this: 5 minus 2, or I can say like this, it's 5 plus minus 2. So whenever there is a negative number, we just do like this and the mod comes 3. So you can see it will always come lesser than 5. So now I can break this property into 2 steps. If a minus b is positive, then simple a mod m minus b mod m whole mod m, else I can write m minus a minus b. So it is, why to make it little complex, so there is another formula where you can easily see why it is working. So simple formula that you have to learn, or you can able to see how it is working, is a minus b plus m mod m. So I'll again write a minus b mod m is a minus b plus m mod m. So let's substitute. If this is negative, it will again become m minus that thing, which is this thing. And if it is positive, this m will cancel m. It is simple a minus b mod m. And if you are not able to getting it, just you need to just learn this formula. So whenever you are calculating something like a minus b mod m, always use this formula. And now comes the most interesting part. A by b mod m. This I will just not explain today, but you just remember the formula. So a mod b mod m is a mod m into b की power m minus 2 mod m mod m. Yes. So it is obviously be very shocking or surprising for those who don't know. And yeah, the condition is m is prime. So this is the formula a mod m into b की power m minus 2 mod m mod m. So these are the 4 properties. Whenever you see this print something modulus m, you will be definitely using one of these. So next time whenever you encounter something. So do you have any doubt in these 4 properties? Anyone? You can ask. Hello?
Except that last one, I understood everything.
Yeah, I can.
Last property, fourth property.
For now, you just don't need to. Well, it's a basically if you want to Google about it, it is Fermat theorem. But you can just remember the formula for now, which is I'll again write a mod m. So a by b, a divided by b mod m is a mod m into b की power m minus 2, which is very a huge number, which we'll think about it later. But just remember this is the formula for now. You can just mug it up or anything. If ever in any coding contest or so, you have to deal with this thing, you can just apply this formula. How? That we'll see. But till rest is very simple, right? It's clear?
Yeah, understood everything.
Cool. So yeah, so just discuss one more thing and then we'll be over for this day because it is too much for at a one go. The way I will just write one important thing for you guys is never ever use POW function. So most of the people have used definitely POW, which is power. So you give some base and some power. So those who know C++, there is a function, I think that is also in C also, not even in C++. In C also, there is a function called POW pow. So if you write like this, power of 2 की power 5, it might, I will say, 2 की power 5, it should give you 32. So the problem is, it returns you a double. So sometimes what happens is, you can try also, not every time it occurs, but it occurred with me during a coding contest. I was not able to debug. So what was happening is, power of, it was returning 99 because it returns something like 99.9999999 something occurs. So never ever use POW function. Only, and you should only use if this power is some decimal. The power of base, any one of its decimal, then you can use. Otherwise, never use power function. Now, so then you will ask me what to use then. Good question. So now what we have to use is, we'll write now we are a programmer, so we can write our code by ourselves, right? So let's say there is a problem. Again, find a की power b. This is the question, just simple as it is. If I am giving you a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 3, then you have to output 125. So previously you were using POW function. Can anyone tell me how you will solve this problem on your own if you don't have any function? Very simple. Can anyone
Like,
tell me?
like for example, a power 4, I could have it as a square the whole square.
Binary search approach. Yeah, binary search approach. Sorry, can you again repeat? Sorry.
A power 4,
Mhm.
I can have it as a square the
Right, that is the optimized approach. But let's say,
like
obviously you must be knowing about this thing. But let's say someone doesn't know anything. So what? Like, a very beginner, what will do is very simple logic is what? For I is equal to 1, I less than b, I plus plus,
LS
answer is answer into a,
answer A.
right? So now the complexity, now we have known now we know about complexity is the order of b, right? Because I am executing b instructions. Okay, now let's see how to make it better, or even can we make it better, or there is no other way. So there is a thing called, just use a different color, binary exponentiation, which is little fancy word, but it's very simple logic. So let me tell you one thing. So now the question is still same. We have to calculate a की power b in some optimized way. So let's say we have to calculate 2 की power, let's say very simple example, 2 की power 8. Okay. Now, right now what I'm doing is 2 की power 2 into 2 की power 2 again. 2 की power 2. This is something like this. Okay. Now I can also write it as 2 की power 4 into 2 की power 4. Right. This further I can write it as 2 की power 2 into 2 की power 2 and 2 की power 1. Okay. So if I generalize this, okay, yeah, this Zoom is very buggy. Okay, cool. Okay, where were we? A की power b, or keep on popping. No, just how should I remove? We cannot do anything. 2 की power 1. Sorry, yeah, I just forgot. So we are trying to generalize it, because the problem is right now you must be thinking this is perfectly fine because it is a perfectly number. But what will happen if something odd comes? So let's say 2 की power 7 comes. So what I can do is I can write, no, not 2 power 7. Let's say I have something called 2 की power 9. So what I will do, because there is no 2 की power 4.5, I can write it like this: 2 into 2 की power 4 into 2 की power 4, right? And then I can compute it using some way that we'll see. So what is the general formula I can make is, if b is even, I can simply write it like a की power b by 2 into a की power b by 2, right? If is odd, I can write it like a into a की power b minus 1 by 2 into a की power b minus 1 by 2. Okay, that's how we are doing it. So it's very simple. I can write an example for you. Let's say you have to calculate 3 की power anything 7. So I can write it like 3 into 3 की power 7 minus 1, basically 6. 3 into 3 into 3 की power 3. This is very simple math. It's very basic thing. Oh, I'm able to remove it, but not admit him. Let's try again once again. Okay, fine. and let's say you have to calculate 3 to the power let's say 18, so I can simply write it as 3 to the power 9 to 3 to the power 9. But now how it is helping us? So let's assume you have to write some code, maybe recursion or anything. I'm good at recursion, so we'll discuss recursion. You just need to calculate a to the power b. So you have again some circle where you have two things, base and power. Okay. Now, if it is odd, if it is even, let's say simple even, so I can write it as b to the power p by 2 into b to the power p by 2. And if it is, let's say now this is odd, I can write it like b I can, if p is odd, it is like what happens, b into b to the power p minus 1 by 2 into b to the power p minus 1 by 2. So that what we written mathematically, I just wrote it in a tree. Okay, now let's focus on that simple example, which is 2 to the power 8. So initially I come at 2 to the power 8. Now I will call two numbers, 2 to the power 4, 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 2 into 2 to the power 2. So we have come till here, 2 to the power 2 to the power 4. To calculate 2 to the power 4, it is 2 ka square, 2 ka square again, 2 to the power 2, 2 ka 2. So this I can write like this. Now you all know the terminating condition. Now it will call 2 to the power 1 into 2 to the power 1. Now if power is 1, then return simple b. So basically you know if you have to calculate a to the power 1, which is simple a, and if a to the power 0, it is simple 1. So these are two my terminating conditions. Now similarly this tree will become something like this. So let's first write the code for this, and I have already written the code. I will not take some time. Less. Yeah, okay. So I'm just reiterating it. So let's say you have some int base power. So I just go line by line, very simple. So we have some base, we have some power. So I'm just taking it. Let's say we're also taking an example. So let's say again 2, power is 8. So we have to make our own function, this fast power. Now base, this is power again. So this is my first circle that you can imagine in the recursion that we make some circles. I'm not using tree word here because people don't know about tree right now. So base ki power circle. Now these are my terminating condition that we talk. If power is 0, I have to return 1. If power is 1, I have to return base. If power mod 2 is equal to 0, basically again that same thing. If it is even, then what I'm doing is this circle again. So if I compare it with this is some circle, this is some circle. So this is one circle, this is another circle, and I'm just multiplying these two. And if it is odd, so for odd we discussed, if I'll go in a simple example. So here it is odd, so 3 to the power 7 is 3 into 3 to the power 3 into 3 to the power 2. So that we have done. So if it is odd, so let's say this is something called 3 to the power, let's say we were calculating 3 to the power 7. So it is 3 into fast power 3 ka power 3 into fast power 3 to the power 3. Okay, and if you run this, you will get the answer. Now, first tell me everything is clear till now. All others, don't think if others are clear, you are clear too. You can feel free to ask. I'll repeat. Okay, so let's assume you all know. You all are very smart guys. And let's go to So now you must be wondering, why? First of all, let's come to बिल्कुल starting में why we started doing this. We were able to solve this problem like this. Here, A into A into A into A, B times, and in order B, we are able to solve this. So now let me make some simple code. Let's say you have to calculate 2 power 4. I'm just making complete circle, tree.
Log B.
2 power 1, 2 power 1, 2 power 1, 2 power 1. So this is a tree. So basically, to calculate 4, and each one is an instruction. So 1, 2, 3. So you are still calculating everything, right? So what are we optimizing it? But if you look at it closely, you see here whatever is the left part is my right part. Even if you look at the code, you can see here this thing is totally same with this thing, and this part is same with this part. So why I am recalculating it? Matlab,
So into 2.
sorry.
Instead of that, we could write into 2.
That works. So like I said, we are again doing it part. We can just simply write it 2, or just simply basically multiply it again. So basically, if I'll write it at 2, I'm just cutting this part. So this tree will be gone. So only similarly for these are the same. This part will be gone. So these basically there will be only these many instructions. If I write a bigger example, good example, let's say 3 to the power 7 we have to calculate, which is 3 into 3 to the power 3 into 3 to the power 3. Then it is again 3 into 3 to the power 1 into 3 to the power 1. Now this part is cut because we are only considering this. This part will cut. So basically we are only calculating this part. Basically on these many nodes. Now you already know maths. So this is 7, this is 3, this is 1. So it is something like log function 8, 4, 2, 1. So now if is the power 8, how many instruction I am doing is only 3. So which is log, to calculate 8, I need to find 4, 2 and then 1. So basically these 3 instructions I need. So which is log to the power b. So now I can say, first let's write that code. So what we can do is we can just find the answer over here, and answer is equal to answer into 2, right? And similarly again doing that same thing, answer is equal to answer into 2. Yeah, I think I'm doing some mistake. Wait, it will not be like this. This should be answer into answer, not 2. 2 means that is joining 2. So we are answer a square, right? And similarly here also we can write it like this, base into answer. So we are not recalculating it, we are just calculating it once and using it twice. So again I will say so this, sorry, yeah. So to calculate a to the power b, we are now able to calculate in only log b steps. So even if you have to calculate 2 to the power 64, which is a very big number, not very, 64 is very less. 2 to the power, let's say you have something like 10 to the power 9 or 10 to the power, let's say 1024. 2 to the power 1024. Earlier you were using order of b, basically kitne many steps, 1024. Now you can solve it in only log of 1024, base is 2, which is only 10. In only 10 steps you can calculate this. So that's the power of algorithms, I will say. This is, you can think that this is the first algorithm I learned today. Now let's see one more thing why I taught. So one more thing. So even if you are not able to write the code, you can always, so what you can think of it is as a black box. You just keep this code somewhere. You can just copy it from somewhere. In context, directly use this, directly copy paste this code, because right now also you are using this, right? So this is also a black box for you. Similarly, you can make a template of your own, like I used to do when I used to code. I used to make my standard functions somewhere in Notepad or somewhere, and I used to directly copy and paste them. So whenever I need to calculate something power, I'm not writing this code again and again. I just copy from my template and just copy paste this function. So that you can also do, or if you like writing again and again, that is also fine. Now why I taught this basically, so you will definitely get help where I'll tell you. So one day you'll get a question like we discussed where you need to implement this for sure. If you do more questions, you will definitely hit it again. Now let's see what was the formula that we discussed. It was n, our mod generally is 10 to the 9 plus 7, right? Which is a mod m into b की power mod minus 2
minus 2.
mod m. Okay,
The whole model.
this is very simple for you, right? But now comes to this part. So then let's say you are calculating 5 by 2 only. Okay, no, 5 by 3 let's say. So this part will become 3 की power 10 to the 9 plus 7. I just write it to a whole. So this will become 1 0 0 0 3 4 5 6 7 8 and minus 2 is 5. 10 to the 9 minus 2. Now you can never calculate it because you don't have this much, you don't have any number to store this. But the interesting thing is we have a mod with it. Now I'm doing it as a homework or any exercise for you. Now you have the power function. You know, one thing you know right now is this. Let's say you don't even have like mod right now. Again, so like come back to this problem. So you have to calculate this. Now earlier you know the formula of order of b, but 10 to the 9 we learned in the today's section that session is that it will take 10 seconds. But now you know a better formula to solve it in log of b, which will take very few, maybe in 20, only in 20 iterations. Okay. Now first part is solved, so you are fine with time. Now the second problem was to store in some data type, right? String is a way, but you definitely need to use your mod property. So we learned this mod property today, right? Now I can use it. I'm not able to share you the code, but let's say you know yaar ki one second. Yeah. So if you have to calculate like this, a की power b mod m, which is the problem. So you can also, now you know the formula. Let's say you are calculating 3 की power 7 mod m. You know 3 into 3, very brute force approach I'm saying, mod 7, and you can use that commutative rule that we followed in the factorial wala question, and you can calculate it. Similarly, you can also use mod in that fast power function. So now we are attaching things over here. So you are calculating something over here. I can just take, I will, when I'll send the recording, I'll also send the code, no issues. I'll send, so like this, I can always use my mod, because mod is commutative in multiplication formula. So that's how, there might be some mistake also in this code, we'll check, but that's how you can calculate this very big thing in only 20 steps, and you're able to store it also. So today we'll just revise. One thing we learned is we started with time complexity. Yes, once. Another thing we learned is then some recursion. Then we learned modulus properties. Then we learned this binary expo. And in this, we use this also, and this also, and this also. So that is the power of an algorithm. So what people generally think, ki whoever start programming, they just directly jump into algorithms. But now you tell me, can I solve any algorithm without knowing these features? So that's why I always prefer, whenever you start coding, first do some problems and then only start with the algorithms. So today's lecture was very too much. You have 1 week time. You have to, I just told you in 1.5 hours. It might take 1 week to or 4 or 5 days, depending upon your previous experience and all. But you should learn it again. Just find some problems on recursion, do it. Find some problems on modulus properties. And if you find some problem, please share on the channel also. Yeah, it will help other students also. So yeah, I think that is enough for today.